This is a book review of Antifragile. We are Accessory to Success. We review a lot of business books here. And if that sounds interesting, you might consider subscribing to our email newsletter where we send out a once-a-week email with a lot of different tidbits, takeaways, and book releases from all these great business books we review. Now let's move on to the main takeaway from this great book. Antifragile shows us how some systems prosper from shocks and uncertainty as opposed to breaking away from them, and how one can be more anti-fragile to thrive in a world full of chaos and uncertainty. Now a few bullet point takeaways of what you'll learn in this book. Fragile objects tend to be volatile, while there is resistance in robust objects. Anti-fragile objects benefit from volatility. This system works because when under stress, they gain capacity. Failure and success from parts of the system serve as crucial feedback. Let's move on to the main summary. Fragile things break under stress while anti-fragile items get stronger. What does this mean? Things that are fragile, for example, glass, breaks easily. However, things that are able to endure change and tough conditions are known as robust. How about those that benefit from being fragile yet robust? Author calls this anti-fragile. The author of the book, The Messy Middle, also stresses the importance of this in building and selling Behance. These are things that can benefit from both volatility and change. Something fragile means that you have more to lose than gain. Anti-fragile is the opposite. You have more to gain than lose. In the case of transporting glass, one puts it in a protective casing. This may fall and break, hence being fragile. However, if steel is put in the same box, it has no effect if dropped, as it is anti-fragile. For one to be anti-fragile, one has to learn how to benefit from volatility and not be indifferent from it. A good example of this is the ancient mythology serpent Hydra. Each time it had its head cut off, two heads grew back. This is a good example of anti-fragile. I recommend the book Sticky Branding to learn how to build a defensible position here. Becoming anti-fragile means one is braced for uncertainty. This is done by preparing for all possible scenarios. In Ray Dalio's book Principles, he also talks about how you can prepare but not predict. This mindset can be seen in smart investments where most of the money is put on safe bets while a small portion is used for big wins or losses. For a system to be anti-fragile, individual elements must be fragile. To fully capture the concept of anti-fragile systems, one may look into the evolutionary process. This process is widely anti-fragile. Humans evolved from ancestors who had the genetic features that helped them survive the most and offered success. As a result, many humans passed away before we could be here. Species are normally fragile as they are easily die. However, as a result of life and death, we can use this as indicators of success as well as failure. Evolution, therefore, is anti-fragile. Another example is our human hands. They were not built and equipped to handle tools well. However, through evolution, it was evident that more equipped our hands got for tools meant we survived longer. This was stored in our genetic code and passed down from year to year. For an anti-fragile system to operate, there have to be individual parts that are fragile. These successes and failures offer important information, which can be used to better chaotic circumstances. The book Grit is all about improving and what it takes to actually get better. Stress builds an anti-fragile nature. Imagine you are lifting weights in the gym, rep after rep of heavy lifting, and you feel the burn. You decide to push for one more, and that's where growth takes place. The tissues in your muscles are the fragile parts. Once they break down, information on failure is reported to the system. For one to have future success, we must compensate for this shock and build extra resistance to manage bigger shocks. You go to bed, sleep, and recover. Your muscles are now rebuilt and stronger than they were before. The human body is very efficient. It does not enjoy any excess capacity lying around. But by being anti-fragile, it builds resilience to better prepare for future emergencies and extreme situations. This is how stress prepares the body for bigger stresses. by building extra capacity. This is what lies at the core of being antifragile and why it is so critical to help you in such situations. This subject is also expanded on in Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership. We should learn to brace ourselves for periods of uncertainty. This can be done by accepting situations and preparing for all possible scenarios. To succeed in life, we ought to have a thick skin that enables us to pass through hardships. Keep an eye on who is saying things and doing things, and how much is at risk if they are correct. If the answer proves to be zero, they should not be taken seriously. In business, for a company to grow, risks have to be taken. By taking these risks, the company puts itself in a position to grow and expand its business. About the author, Nassim Taleb. For more than 2 decades, Nassim spent his time as a risk taker. He then ventured into becoming a full scholar and essayist. He focused on philosophical and mathematical problems. He majorly focused on how different systems react and handle disorder. A majority of Nassim's time is now spent in the cafes meditating on his works. He has been a trader as well as an academic researcher at the New York University. He has authored several other books, with The Black Swan being his other popular work. They all tackle disorders and practical issues we face in our life, and his books have been translated into 41 languages. He has also published 55 academic and scholarly papers. This has been a book review of Antifragile. We are Accessory to Success. There's a lot of other book recommendations in this review. You can find links to all of those in the blog post. Don't forget to subscribe to our email newsletter. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next review.